And we are live, according to the YouTube machine. It is another off-centered episode starring Dustin, that's me, Neo, Cards and Comics, or Fleo, Snards and Glomics, depending on who you ask.
Whoa.
And flipping Thomas Jefferson, Steve. How we doing, guys?
Thomas Jefferson. Man, distinguished gentleman. How did I earn that title?
What's going on? How was your day? Let's start with today, and then we'll go backwards because I know, Steve, you were at Cards HQ, and we want to hear about how awful that experience was. So how was everyone's day today?
I ripped a box of Bowman.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Was that a hobby box? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
stuff.
jumbo box. Jumbo.
Oh, that was a pretty penny. That was $400 or $500.
500 smacks.
Ooh.
So I assume
I got another one sitting right here.
Wait, I actually know the title of the video tomorrow. It's going to be "I Lit Money on Fire." Opening.
We'll find out. Did I light money on fire? Maybe I hit something big.
Yeah, but the title will be something. The title will be like a box of cards on fire. The thumbnail will be that.
I know thumbnail's already made. I can confirm.
How to waste $500?
Yeah. I just threw.
I ripped one for tomorrow's video, and then I got a small stack here for maybe an impromptu live Friday or something.
Nice. How about you, Steve? What'd you do today?
Today, catching up because I just got back from Atlanta. My flight got in yesterday, so today was kind of catching up around the house, getting back into physical therapy for one of my last days. Finally.
Oh my God, we can't have another national like or Atlanta. We can't do that again.
Getting out some auctions that sold on Sunday. Luckily, I have the 3-day grace period of shipping.
Yeah.
So I had auctions in on Sunday that I had to get out today. Shot some video content today. Actually edited a video. I'm kind of behind on content. It's been coming in slower, but because I have other things to do. Summertime's coming up and things. But yeah, catching up, trying to get a video out by tomorrow. If I'm too lazy to finish editing after tonight, it won't be out till Friday, but it might be out. So yeah, just kind of a catch up day. Got the pool. The pool people came to open the pool, so got the cover off the pool. Now I'm just waiting for the chemicals to settle and things like that. So
my wife was just yelling at me like 20 minutes ago because there's a bird nest that's like basically like hanging. We have this like wreath thing that's hanging on the front door on like two of them, and there's a bird nest with eggs that's been like set up behind it, and so she wanted me to help move the bird nest so that I guess we didn't have birds fly in the house. So that's what I was doing about 10 minutes ago.
Should have filmed content around that.
Never a dull moment.
You didn't get rid of the nest. That's the bird's home.
My B-roll could be incredible if I captured like half the stuff that's going on around here. It's nutty. All right, Michael Ham, Brendan Ryan, what's going on? Michael Stone in the house. Last year's winner, Mark Sipe. Mark, I wish you could win every single year. You're a great dude and just very easy to deal with, unlike Charles, who is high maintenance.
Will Mark be able to make it to the National in Cleveland? Mark's from North Carolina, so I wonder if he's coming.
Mark, you can just hitch a ride. I'm riding.
I didn't. My normal questions screwed up now because we're kind of knee deep. Everyone knows that we're going to the National, but since the last time we recorded, they announced 2 additional Fanatics events, Pittsburgh and Orlando. Is that on either of your radars?
Orlando, yes. So the others, no.
Perfect. That's the one I'm not going to.
Yeah, fall is so nutty it's like crazy for me. I'm trying to plan out Saints games. We got shows and all sorts of stuff. Got concerts. There's no way I'm making it to the other ones. But I heard Orlando is supposed to be like a 900 table event or something, like a card show. I'm excited about that one. I hope I can make that one.
I'm excited because the Pittsburgh one's at PNC Park. So some sort of show in a baseball stadium just sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll
Steve,
be cool.
Either of those on their radar or New York. I think you're out for New York, right?
Yeah,
we talked about last time.
I'm out for New York. And it's going to all depend on my feelings and vibes coming out of the National on whether I'm ready to go to another big show or not. Just because I don't know where I will be in the space by then. Because
this is the exact same.
No. I may just be strictly collecting by then.
I don't even know if I'm going to be doing this. I don't even know if I'm going to be alive.
Okay, but you guys have different stuff going on with your content than I do. And like I said, I just put a video out, or just did a video today. And the reason why my videos have been scaled back recently is because I just don't have anything to show anybody, because my content has always just been around what I've been doing. And if I'm not doing much, I don't have much content to put out.
You have slabs you can throw in the pool. There's another video that.
Well, I'm waiting for a couple big PSA orders to come back. I did nothing but buy from like January to March. Now I'm in the process of selling, and I've sold a lot. So now I'm waiting for my second wave of cards to come back to sell. That'll give me content, because I'll show people my PSA returns, my sales, things like that. But once that inventory is gone, I don't have anything backed up right now. I haven't been buying a lot. Honestly, it's been difficult. I mean,
as far as finding good inventory to buy,
finding good inventory to buy, because I buy online, and the repacking thing has carried over to online purchases. I know, because I know repackers, people that buy for repackers that buy offline. It's also, I guess this could be a video, because a thing that I'm seeing from it is the PSA 10 and graded cards of new stuff doesn't seem to be carrying the multiplier that it once carried.
You're stealing my I'm researching for this video right now.
I don't need to do the research, because I'm living it, right? I'm buying, selling, and grading right now, so I know.
Well, Neil, you can just clip this part and throw it into the video.
I typically know what I'm going to get on a card. If I buy this for raw, if I buy this raw and I grade it, I typically kind of know, if it comes back a 10, this is the multiplier I'm going to get on the card. The multiplier is getting lower, and raw cards are getting very popular. I was surprised, because when I sold a big chunk of my inventory, I was asked, because I showed them all slabs. Do you have anything raw? Let me see your raw card inventory. I'll buy your raw cards. And I'm like, the only raw cards I have is stuff that I didn't want to grade, because I don't think that it's even going to be a 9. I don't care. I want it anyway. Okay. So, I don't know. It's making raw card purchases really tough as well online. We already knew it was becoming tough at shows. So my foothold as a flipper in the hobby is really slowing down. Do I still want to collect and add awesome cards to my collection? Yes. Is that what I'll do at the National? Yes. That's what I typically do at the National every year. I do sell, but I'm probably going to sell most of my inventory prior to the National and not really carry much into the National with me, which will be awesome, because I actually like the feeling of not walking around a show in my Pelican case as, having to carry it. It just, actually carrying my case feels like a burden. But when I don't take it, then I miss opportunities. Like the one trade night. Remember, Neo, when I showed up at that one trade night, I didn't have my Pelican case with me, because that day I just didn't want to carry it around. And then I get to that big trade night at Lowe's Hotel, and I'm like, well, damn, I wish I had my inventory with me. So, FOMO of that exists with me when it comes to carrying my Pelican case around, although I prefer not to carry it around. I'd rather just look.
I tried to lose your Pelican case at the cafeteria.
Yes, you did.
We did find it.
I'm telling you guys, you got to go to with a case that fits inside a backpack. It's a game changer.
For those that don't know what I'm talking about, was it Atlantic City? I think it was Atlantic City, actually. It wasn't. Yeah, it was in Atlantic City. I went to go grab a sandwich, and Steve was like, hey, can you, because he had two Pelican cases. I was carrying the smaller one, and I went to go pay at the register, and I paid, and I grabbed my food, and then forgot to grab his smaller Pelican case. And fortunately, I was kind of walking. I was probably 100 feet away. I wasn't right next to it. I was like a fair enough distance away.
No, I saw you. I was like, where's my case?
And then Steve was all pale and white when he saw me. And I'm like, man, he looks sick. And then he walks up. He's like, where's my Pelican? No, he didn't do that. But he was like, Dustin, where's my case? And I literally like turned around and just sprinted back to the register.
That was the case. That had all my high end in it too.
That literally had like $10,000 or $15,000 of cards.
That had big cards.
I would have loved the video of you having the right to check for that.
Yeah. How me and Flip and Steve are no longer friends. How I ruined that.
You'd have been taking sponsorships, everything under the sun to pay off that debt.
Yeah, that would have been. I would still be paying for that. What's up, Mangini?
You'd be hawking Batman shirts on Whatnot to pay off Flip and Steve.
Italians with all the emotions. That's right.
But I mean, so on the tail end of what I was talking about, what does that leave? after that, right? What does that leave from a flipping standpoint if you're
Oh,
trying to make money? Where does that,
I can tell you.
if raw ultra graded really thins out and doesn't make it worth it?
Bowman U, my friend. Bowman U. That's where I mean, I'm not saying I'm making millions, but there's plenty of flip opportunities with Bowman U with the college stuff.
I don't know, but where does it stay, right? Like once it's off your hands, you don't have to worry about it, right? But where does a Bowman U card ultimately end up? Like I've always been super firm believer that you need to have cards that are going to end up with a collector.
I've got some sweet Drake May stuff, like UNC, Go Tar Heels, Inscription. Like I think there's collectors for certain cards. I mean, look, if for certain colleges too, Alabama or Georgia, or you've seen that, USC, there's people that just collect college, stars.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is PSA 9s aren't carrying the value of raw cards in a lot of cases either.
That's been the case for
months. It's because people would rather buy a raw card because it might be a 10, right? So that's the mindset. Okay, that card's raw. It might be a 10. I'm not sure what it is, but it might be a 10. So I'd rather pay a premium for that might be a 10 than buy a 9. And then you might get an 8, you might get a 10, you might get a 9, but it's just it's a weird space right now. And I'm glad that flipping is not my livelihood. That's kind of like the video that I'm putting out today. Yeah. Is as I see videos that a lot of vloggers put out and they talk about how I make a living flipping sports cards full time, right? You see that one quite a bit by different vloggers. And my video today is just asking them a bunch of questions like, what is your definition of making a living? Being able to travel week to week and live week to week? Or do you have a lifestyle back home? Or do you have different bills? Something that's a legit question to a full-time card flipper is, how do you pay your medical bills?
I see very few, at least on social media, that have families. I mean, I see you got the Roths and the Kennys of the world, but it feels like a lot of those guys, it's a lot of guys, and good for them. I mean, they're keeping their overhead is low. They're living sharing a bedroom or whatever, mm-hmm. riding a bike around instead of a car. I don't know, but they're obviously living like pretty
right. Lean. And that's kind of the questions that I have in my video, because my video is not to throw shade or sling mud at anybody. It's basically saying, hey, out of curiosity, when you talk about making a living, show us more than my expenses or inventory. So those videos are basically my expenses or inventory. But what about your travel expenses and your accommodations and your Uber rides? And the reason I kind of did this video is because I just got back from Atlanta, and I know how much I spent on Uber rides. I know how much my plane ticket was. I know how much it was for 3 nights in a hotel, right? So it's are you paying for this out of flipping cards? Because if you are, that's awesome. It's amazing. You're doing a good job. Or
we've seen, yeah. I mean, we've seen the folks that it's they're trading, they're at trade night, and then they're popping bottles, and they've got table, they've got they've got table service or bottle service, at the club, and it's I don't think your card sales paid for that.
Well, and the other question is, do you have income coming out? Do you have income coming from somewhere else? Maybe your content, maybe sponsors, maybe a show promoter wants you to be there and they pay for your accommodations. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. Mm-mm. Nothing at all. But when you do a video, you should disclose some of that stuff, because the everyday watcher, the everyday viewer that doesn't have those extra benefits, especially, I don't want to say younger kids, but kids that, mid to, late teenagers that really absorb a lot of this content, or looking at, I'm living vicariously through my favorite vlogger. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be like, because they see, okay, I can buy and sell cards, and this is the margins that I have, but they don't see the expenses of what it costs to stay in a hotel. And maybe those aren't expenses. Maybe they're not expenses that some of these bigger vloggers have, because like I said, those expenses may be covered from elsewhere, but you should disclose it so that the people watching know, okay, well, this isn't applying to me, because if I was to go to a show, I'm going to have those added expenses. Or do you have
the peek behind the curtain?
Right. I mean, how do you get to the airport? Do your friends drop you off? Do you Uber? I mean, even going to an airport, you either got to drive your own car, which means you have a car payment, or car insurance. You definitely have car insurance. You have to have it, right? That's another real life bill. Are you paying your car insurance and your cell phone, which you're doing all your deals on, with your flip money, or do you have extra income?
That's a good question, Steve. I wonder if the parents are still paying for the auto and the health insurance.
I'm just curious.
Because I'm paying for mine. I'm paying for mine.
Do you have mortgage? Do you have rent? Do you have mortgage and rent and all the expenses that go with owning a home, all the way down to your landscaping, all the way down to cutting your grass, even if it's you that does it, right? It takes gas, right? Or do you live at home with your parents and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff? And again, if you do, it's not a knock. It's not a knock on you. If you live at home with your parents, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, shit, I wish my parents paid everything for me. It would be great, right? But disclose it. You know, say, hey, look, this is kind of what allows me to do what I do, as opposed to making it look like everything is coming from flipping cards. And if everything is coming from flipping cards, then hey, you're just damn good at what you do, and congratulations, right? But a little bit more transparency would be cool in some of these videos.
I wish Neo would do that more. On this question here, actually, Neo has just opened Bowman today, but that's a future video that's coming up, right?
It's tomorrow morning, yeah.
Okay, that's tomorrow morning.
Right,
so,
yes,
Mango Bango.
I have seen Bowman breaks.
Bazooka Tom makes a good comment down here. Maybe I need to buy Jeff Wilson's book, and it'll have all those answers for me in it.
Don't waste any more time.
Did you pick up a copy while you were at Cards HQ?
I did not. So, I mean, I've done a lot of talking. You guys don't let me take up the whole live stream, but I mean, I'll talk about Cards HQ and stuff when you guys are ready.
Well, we do have a pickups question here, and I'm gonna take a second to show off my largest pickups ever in the history of.
You got all the big fire. Like, you've been getting big. Like, the cards that you're adding to your collection right now is the stuff that I want to add also throughout this year. But to start the year off, you know, I'm building up a bankroll off of flipping. So when I go to the National or somewhere, I'll be ready to buy what I want.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I've been trying to work up to, and I'll still be paying off some of the stuff too. It's not all, it's not all paid off, but it will be here fairly shortly. Mark has been buying a lot of stuff on Golden Marketplace at very good prices. I think that's actually probably a good video too, is the just the amount of or the number of different selling spots, and there's got to be deals, stuff slipping through the cracks. This was the.
I'm going to imagine that Golden Marketplace thing is going to dry up with the PSA vault kicking.
Yeah, that was a good video that you did today on that. So this was, I hate the glare, but anyway, this is the 84 star came in.
What grade is that?
It's a PSA.
What kind of slab is that?
It's a PSA 5.5.
What kind? What kind of slab? Hey,
in the red slab.
What's it in? It's in the slab mag, right? I'm still waiting for that slab mag to throw off the tower.
I assume you're cracking that and sending it to SGC, right?
Absolutely. And then we've got the matte graining, the art to Bart. Guys, just like with these cards, I might sell everything and just go into art to Bart and Star Jordan. Like, that's all I've got. Maybe I'll just have like 5 cards in my entire collection. That's all it'll be. But yeah, those are not typical pickups. I just sharing those because asked about the pickups, but yeah, if I don't buy another card, like PC card for the rest of the year, I'd be completely fine.
It's only May. We still have the National to go.
Now I'm buying cards, but I'm doing the SCV, the Bowman U. Oh God, I'm gonna have all the Bowman U quarterbacks. You guys are typically the ones that have all the fire at trade night. I'm actually gonna have the new QB stuff at trade night, so that'll be kind of fun.
I might not have that much fire this year. It all depends.
Steve, you might be out of the hobby the day after the National ends.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame while I'm there, so maybe I'll get into music and I'll start doing music videos instead.
Let's cross over before we go deeper into chat. The National giveaway is coming up. It's actually not as close as I thought. We still have 3 months? We have
less than 3 months.
It's May. We got to do the giveaway in June so that people have a month to prepare.
It's gonna be May. So
probably
like 70 some days. I think
probably 6
Okay.
weeks away from the giveaway, maybe
Pull it
6
up.
weeks away.
If you pull it up, they have a countdown clock on their page.
So, I mean, I want to do the giveaway by June 25th.
right, to give people 30 days or so to.
Yeah, because people are going to have to request off work, and if they need an airline ticket, you know, things like
76
that.
days.
76 days. Okay,
and
so
18
Steve,
hours.
for those that might not know what we're talking about, if you can just kind of give a brief rundown, and then I've got a little wrinkle that I'm adding this year that I'll throw in on the end.
Okay, so hopefully everybody in the comments knows, but they may not. This will be the 4th year in a row that I've done a giveaway on my channel for the National. Had some help this year with a fantasy football league that I ran. You guys will see in the video. One of the things I had to do in Atlanta, which I'll talk about, the person that actually won that video, but everybody paid $100 for their team. So all that money, that $1,200 for the 12 teams, all was for the National giveaway and helping me out, because for the last 3 years I've come out of my pocket for it. So we did that. So it's going to be 3 nights in Cleveland, a nice suite that I got for you and a guest. I mean, I booked it, but everybody helped. And so, yeah, it'll be for a guest. There's going to be $1,000 in cash has been raised through my stickers. So anybody in the comments, man, if you guys got one of those 302 downtowns with me and Daisy on it, or just one of the Crazy Daisy Color Blast stickers that I did, man, that was crazy, because that raised $1,000 for me to give to somebody for the National. Now, that money can be used for, you get a plane ticket and whatever's left over you can spend. You can get yourself to the National however you want, and I will put that money in your hand to spend cash. And also there is the 5-day VIP pass, or the VIP pass, however many days long it is. Last year's Zion cases chipped in with a Zion case. I'm going to reach out to them again. Ryan Nolan donated one of his Spotting Fakes books. He presented that to Mark when we found Ryan at the show. We might try to do something with a grading company, see if we can get some free grades. I don't know. I don't want to put Dustin on the spot, but maybe
I'll
we can
talk to SGC about it. They chipped in last year. I'll talk to them about it again.
Maybe SlabMags could throw something in. I'm going to ask Jeff if we can get one of his books. I know some people may be like, boo, I don't want a Jeff book, but hey, it's be part of the giveaway. Oh, Mr. Minty threw in a card prep kit last year. I mean, last year more people came into it, and you know, it just got involved. You know, rather, this has nothing to do with the card cleaning cards and whatever. I'm just saying there's stuff in the kit that you can use that's not bad, like the microfiber cloth and the magnifying glass.
Only that mattered.
Yeah, just don't use the scissors. Don't use the scissors that are included.
Oh, I didn't get scissors in mine.
I'm just kidding.
But anyway, but
So
yeah, there's just multiple things that I've tried to get in. Yeah. But the biggest thing is you get 3 nights in the hotel there. You get your entrance paid for, and you get some spending money. Most of the time, you just have to get yourself there. But I can, you know, the spending money that I give you, you can ask, and I can, you know, send that to you to book yourself a plane ticket if you needed to get a plane ticket to there. And yeah, that's kind of it. And we'll just see how many things get sprinkled in throughout. As we get closer, I'll start approaching some of these vendors and things like that, or other companies, and asking them if they want to throw anything in. But this year, for the first time, I'm going to let Dustin take this away now because this is on him, but there's going to be an additional thing to the giveaway. So,
well, we always have a lot of people. It's fun because we do kind of like the trivia night, and it's just fun kind of how we do it leading up to, you know, to it. But it's always just kind of there's one person that ends up, you know, at the finish line. So I'm adding in a second place for the person that comes in second place. If you happen to be going to the National, I will buy you a card valued up to $500 at the National. I'll come and we'll go to a table, we'll find one, and I'll buy one for you. If you're not able to make it to the National, then you just basically send me kind of a wish list of a few cards, or if there's one in particular that you found that's up to $500, I'll buy you that card. So that'll be kind of like the second place that we've never done it. We've never done that before. So I thought that would be kind of fun to throw that in. And a lot of that too is just when I look at a lot of the names in the chat, there's a lot of people that have been watching all three of us for 4 years now. We've all been doing content for about the same time. And, so the idea that we can kind of give back is really cool. So I wanted to throw that in. It's just kind of a little bonus.
Always the worst part after we do the giveaway is the best part is announcing the winner, and the worst part is announcing the winner. It's the double-edged sword because you have so many people. Like you wish you could just get everybody. You wish you could send everybody, and you can't. So it's always like it's just always like, man, you feel really good for the winner, and then you feel bad for the people who don't win. So that's always the toughest part when we do it that night.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. A lot of it too, it's a trivia thing. So you just pay attention to a lot of Steve's content because he's going to ask questions based around that. I'll throw in some questions around mine, so we'll have fun with it.
I've tried to be really repetitive with some of the things that I say on my channel because it'll make it easier to answer the questions. So
Mango Bango 69, that's the classic name. Are breakers considered influencers that are trying to sway your purchasing towards certain products? I think that, if you look at who Fanatics and Tops are putting on their influencer trading cards, I think half of them now are breakers of some sort. You could argue that breakers are the biggest influencers as far as, the amount of eyeballs that they've got on their product. I don't know, maybe that'll give away to Repackers or something. Maybe it'll give away to that here the next couple of years. But yeah, breakers are some of I would say they have a lot of influence, especially, and that was something I made a video on going back a couple of days. Coming out of that Topps annual conference, everybody's fired up to sell all that new Topps product. And I think that we also just need to be mindful of the fact that we're paying more than we've ever paid before for new product. If you're in a new product, so it's something to just be careful of. There's going to be, a lot of folks, they're in business to break. They're in business to, to sell product. And that's fantastic. More power to everybody. But as the consumer and the customer, and, Neo just bought a $500 box of Bowman, like a lot of people did, that's not chump change. That's significant money to put down on new product. So yeah, I'd be wary as we move forward in these years to come. You have to remember, this company they paid a lot of money for licenses. They need to make money, and they're going to, these folks are going to be deployed out to sell this product. So,
yeah, and as someone who never breaks wax, when I was at Cards HQ, that's one thing that I kind of considered doing. I was like, well, I'm going there. Maybe I will break a box of something and shoot some content with it. And I know wax is expensive, but I don't know the actual numbers because I don't look into it at all. I don't follow the breaks. I don't follow Cardboard Connection. I don't see when things are being dropped, things like that. And then I saw the prices of a lot of the wax in the store, and I was just like, I can't see myself spending this much money on a box of wax. It's just not what I do. Even though I could get a little bit of content out of this, it may be a little enjoyable, even if I don't get a card, opening some packs. But there wasn't a product in there that I felt there was a lot of product, don't get me wrong. But for the price points, I just couldn't justify buying any of those products for a fun rip. I did look at some of the Star Wars stuff, and I think I was in there actually on May 4th, and they were setting up for a big Star Wars break at Cards HQ in one of the booths. It was like all set up fancy, and I saw them in there. I believe Allie was the one breaking it.
Yeah, she did a big break for May
the 4th. That she was in there setting up and stuff, and for that break that night, and I almost bought a box of Star Wars stuff, but then I was just like, what am I going to do with these Star Wars cards if I don't get a card that I want? So it was just kind of like, it just kind of fizzled out, my desire to want to actually break a box of wax.
Yeah, I don't know, Rob, you're out of all three of us, you're the one that really opens up new product. And I know that you do that partly for content too. It's a good content thing where, you're opening the box and talking about it. But what's your thoughts on new product?
New products drastically out of whack with reality in regards to pricing for a common person to be able to open one. I've done the video breakdowns last year where, I leveraged every, I bought what was that, 8 boxes of Topps Chrome at the National, and I used everything possible in my, to my advantage, and barely broke even. That was with getting national promo packs and selling those for massive amounts of money, grading everything, content. Like, even with all that stuff thrown in, I barely broke even. And that was with like every trick in the book that you could pull out. I mean, it's the video that I recorded on the box opening tomorrow. I basically opened, like, the opening of the video was like, you're probably going to lose money on this. Just buyer beware. Like, don't FOMO into this stuff. Especially this week when these new releases come out, it's all everyone's talking about. You're seeing all the hits online. Then you're like, oh man, I really want to open a box of that. I mean, at least there is, like, you could get, I picked up some $30 blasters today. So if you just want to scratch the itch, you could grab a couple $30 blasters.
Oh, yeah.
Not too terrible, but to rip an actual, like, jumbo box, I don't know. And I was watching, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it yet, Dustin. Jeff had Card Collector 2 on his podcast today.
Yeah, I caught about half of it.
Did you get to the part where they were talking about pricing for Topps Chrome Basketball? I think it was the back half, so you might not have. They were just having a discussion about the new Topps Chrome Basketball unlicensed that coming out, and like guessing on price point and kind of where wax pricing is right now. And I think Topps Chrome Basketball is going to be intriguing to see how that gets priced.
Yeah, my thing is, and I know there's a lot of people that just love the camaraderie and the excitement of like, okay, I bought this break spot, and I'm looking forward to Friday night when we, that new product hits and everyone's going to open it. And it's in part to see what you get, but then it's also in part to see what comes out for other people as well. If it's kind of like a camaraderie, literally like hobby thing where, you go fishing and you got to buy bait, tackle, and gas and put the boat in the water, and you might not catch any fish, but you just really enjoy kind of the experience, that's totally fine. I just have to assume, though, if you're somebody that is looking for value out of new product, that's buying it for, getting a big card or really kind of strictly about value, what percentage of people get hosed and don't come back on that side? It's because I don't watch, when new product hits, the videos that I barely ever see that I had an amazing experience and I got amazing cards. 90% of the videos are I got skunked, I got hosed, I lost all my money. Like it's usually not good, or it's, man, actually in the chat already I saw it. But there's been Bowman breaks and it's looked really bad. That's always the case. You always see go online and you go on social media and it's like, wow, these dudes are getting smacked with this new national treasures or whatever the new product is. So I guess it's kind of like, if you are a seller of that product, how are you got to be selling the experience, because you can't really be selling on the getting your money back value part of it. I don't know.
I mean, that's part of the reason why repacks are so popular.
Right.
Because the even if it's not necessarily the monetary value, the way that I've discussed this with videos in the past, the way that you feel after opening a product is almost as important as, did you get a big hit or not? Because you could open a box and lose 40%, but if the experience of opening it was enjoyable and you got some cool stuff, even if it's not paying for the box value, but by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, like I had a good time opening this. I hit some cool cards. I'll send a couple of these things off for grading. We'll see what'll happen. That's one thing, but that doesn't happen that often anymore. So the experience of buying into a repack, and even though you might lose 30% on that, at least you might have a cool card in your hand. Like you might get like a PSA 10 case hit of someone, even if it's $300 less than what the break spot was. At least you feel better after that.
And at the same time, though, you're kind of seeing where it looks to be, especially I've seen on the Panini side, where they're really watering down those products. So it's like the pricing is still the same or higher every year, but you're seeing player worn jersey. You're seeing, you're seeing basically a Fanatics jersey and a card. Like the quality of the actual product coming out is not getting better, but the price is still going up, or it's at least staying the same, and it's very, very expensive. So I think that the manufacturers are probably going to push that until they can't sell it. Because right now, I mean, hell, like Bowman comes out, if they sell it and they're able to dilute the product and it's still selling out and the breaks are still filling and all that, then it's like, what's their motivation to put out anything, to either cut print run or to put in better cards in the product? Like they have zero motivation to do that. If anything, they'll just keep on diluting it more. they'll just keep on diluting it more to see like, hey, where's that equilibrium? Because people, hey, if they're going to buy this, then we're going to sell it. So
there's a comment.
Go ahead.
At 9:8, there's a comment at 9:18 from Jack. It's 22 minutes old, but he's still in the chat.
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still. That's exactly where I was.
So here's what I'm noticing about the pricing of certain cards. We talked about the market right now is being heavily a lot of inventory is trading hands through repackers. It's not a secret. Now, the repacker that I sell to specifically looks for cards between $100 and $500. So I sold 16, 17 slabs to a repack buyer last week on Instagram in that price range. Now, I had some cards that are $400, $400 raw comps that I graded and came back PSA 10s. They were not interested in those cards unless they could get them from me for $500, right? Now they were willing to pay their cap of $500 for those cards, which is over raw card value. And they're willing to pay more because it is a PSA 10. But once they reach their cap of, okay, I don't want cards over $500 value because the price of my repack doesn't call for that. Now, there might be repackers out there with all kinds of different price ranges. So this is what I'm seeing from my experiences. Funny thing is, last night I got Instagram messages from 2 repack buyers that knew that I had inventory, asking me for anything between $1,000 and $1,500 because they were buying chasers. Okay, so the chasers are, of course, self-explanatory. The cards that you're after, the cards that you're gambling for, your hits, your big hits in your repacks. So they're padding the repacks with 100 to 500. Once the repacks get full and they need chasers, then they're coming back out and saying, okay, now we're ready to buy our chasers between 1,000 and 1,500. I guess they don't want to buy their chasers. It would make sense. They wouldn't want to buy their chasers first and then have a hard time filling their repack product up with lower end inventory while they sit on a high end card, right? So, but that was my first experience with that. And apparently word got out, I don't know how, to multiple people that I had inventory at home. Now, some of those cards that they didn't want to buy, a week and a half ago, they do want to buy now. So it's a good thing I didn't fold to their $500 cap. I have a Patrick Mahomes card that raw card value is around $350. In fact, one of them just ended on eBay for $370. I bought one months ago, sent it to PSA. It came back at PSA 10. Regardless of whatever multiplier you want to put on that, even if you put a 2x on it, it's a $700 card, right? So they were willing to give me $500. But now they're willing to say, hey, now I'm ready to up it up because I'm looking for chasers. So if you're targeting repackers, which is probably the smartest thing to do right now, that's the ballpark that at least I'm playing in and the experience that I've had personally. And everybody else's might be different. But they're contacting me for inventory. I'm not having to reach out to anybody. So this kind of plays in with anyone paying anything over $250 on modern. They are, and in PSA 10s, it just depends on the cap if you're selling to a repacker, which kind of tells you as a buyer, if you're looking to flip, the kind of cards you need to try to get. But that's why you're seeing the raw cards, downtowns and case hits of pretty much anybody going for that price range. It could be a hot rookie from today. It could be Matt Stafford, right? It could be Aaron Rodgers. It could be a downtown of Earl Campbell or a retired player. All of them are bunched in the same price because the repackers will buy them up at that price. So if they're going to sell any lower, the repackers don't allow it. They buy it. It goes up. They don't go over that, but they don't go over a certain price because most people that are trying to make money off the card are going to pull out at a certain price because they got to try to leave themselves room. A repacker will still pay top dollar. So that's why you're seeing a lot of cards, regardless of kind of what the card is, as long as it's as long as the card is popular. You notice I'm not saying player. As long as it's a popular card, it doesn't always necessarily matter who's on the card. People just want certain cards right now, and you're seeing them all being lumped together in the same price range, regardless of who is on the card. So that's just kind of one thing that I'm seeing, which is weird trends, and it's a little difficult to. It's really competitive. It's really competitive in that 200 to 400, or it's really competitive in that price range to buy.
So do you see repackers, at least in the short run, kind of eliminating flippers, or just kind of flipping opportunities is kind of what you're pointing to?
It's making it tougher, but you know what? Like I said, it's a business, and I don't do it for a livelihood. I do it for fun. And again, right now it's a phase. I don't know how long it'll last. I think it's going to last a little bit longer than I would tend to lean on the longer side, as long as product. This stems from what you guys were just talking about, the price of product and your return on investment, or your return on your purchase when you buy product, your value in that box. The repacker thing is a direct result of that. And with breaking continue to go on, people break and they get cards, but it's not necessarily cards that they want, right? You might get a great card, but you're like, well, that's not a player that I like, or a card that I like. Yeah, somebody likes it. It might be valuable, but a lot of the stuff that's coming out of breaks is being sold back into repacks. And it's keeping people.
A lot of breakers are also selling repacks too, so that they could just source their own inventory.
Yeah, but I mean, they're probably buying directly off the people breaking from them. Yeah.
But that's a hell of a business model. I'm gonna sell you a break spot in Bowman, then I'm gonna buy the hit back off you that you don't want, and then I'm gonna put it in my repack and make another 30% on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
And then that person's gonna hit it someone else is gonna hit it in the repack and not want it, and sell it back to the repacker again at 90%, and then they put it back in the repack at 130.
It's kind of like
this. We're in the wrong business, boys.
So it's like back in the day.
T-shirt. Being on your parents' insurance isn't making a living. Put that on a T-shirt.
You are 40 minutes behind.
It reminds me of back in the day when you would be at the LCS and you would be breaking packs, and if you pulled something good, the LCS owner would be like, "Oh, I'll give you more packs for that card," right? And then you break packs. And every time you get something good, you trade it to the shop owner, and he gives you more packs, and then eventually you just don't pull anything else, and now you got a bunch of cards that you don't want, and all of your good cards you've traded back into the LCS to sell. I remember doing that in 1992 with Shaq, busting Top Stadium Club. And every time I busted a Shaq, he'd be like, "Oh, I'll take that Shaquille O'Neal from you. And I'll give you, 10 more packs to break," right? Until I no longer pulled any Shaqs and was out of packs, right? So it was like I ended up getting nothing. It's kind of, it's a little bit like that. But again, I mean, I don't think it's a super bad thing with the repackers right now. I mean, it is what it is. And like I said, it'll run its course. And, we'll see if customers keep buying because they're happy, then how can that be a bad thing, right? I just don't know. I don't know enough. I don't watch the repacks happen. I don't see people's joy. I don't see people's disappointment. Just because I don't watch breaks either. So, yeah, and I don't participate.
Are they happy or are they just addicted? You work in a casino.
Well, I mean, in the casino, you have people that gamble to win, right? And then you have people gamble for fun. I'm going to say would be both. Typically, if you're a gambler that gambles to win, you lose. If you gamble for fun, you typically don't lose because you know your limits and you know how much you want to spend to have a good time, right? It's no different than going to a concert or to a movie and going out to dinner and spending a couple $100s on a Friday night. You could go to a casino because you enjoy playing blackjack and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to spend my $200. Once I lose it, I'm going to get up and leave, but I had fun losing it. Or put a limitation on how much you can win. Like for me, I don't gamble, but if I go to a casino, I limit myself $200. Okay, I'm going to gamble. I'm either going to lose 200 or I'm going to win 500. If I win 500, I'm done. If I lose 200, I'm done. And I'm just going to enjoy it, and I'm going to tip the dealers while I'm doing it, as opposed to being like, I'm going in here to turn this $100 into 2,000. Because when you have that mentality, you typically lose. Even if you win early, you're greedy. You want to get to a big amount of money, and the casino will always run you down.
Let me answer Brad real quick. I was at Atlantic City Show, saw Dustin, try to talk to him, but he just ignored me. Brad, I definitely didn't hear you if you were trying to talk to me, because I don't ignore anybody.
Is that the guy that
you were like?
No,
unless you're Steve or Neo, then I ignore them, but try to lose their Pelican case.
I remember that because we walked by and you're like, oh, that's that Brad guy. I just totally ignored him. You don't remember that?
That's Brad Noble.
Yeah, Dustin was like, that guy was trying to get my attention, and I totally cold shouldered him on purpose.
Yeah, that happens all the time. No, we don't. Well, I can't speak for the other two guys, but yeah, I don't think that any of us were trying to ignore anybody.
Dustin thought he was above all the riffraff in Atlantic City, so he had his blinders on.
I'm not Justin Gamble. I'm not Roth Cards. I'm just walking around a show. I don't have 14 dudes with a camera crew and screaming and all that stuff. Like I'm just trying to look at
security,
cards.
Just security detail.
Yeah.
Just security detail.
Ray says it's awful good of you, Steve. That will definitely be a nice giveaway for somebody, for two people this year. Crazy Daisy 302 auto today. Those are very limited. And I don't think Steve's printing any more of those. So that's
no, once they're done, they're done. I mean,
series 1.
Look, for as awesome and cool that it has been to be able to do those stickers and as many of them that people donated to get it, man, that was a lot of work. Because I had to address, a lot of them were handwritten envelopes. I had to get people's addresses and write it all out and stuff. My address, their address, stamp, take it to the mailbox or the post office. And it was a lot of them.
Dustin, did you get a sticker for the upside down repack as a chaser?
Yeah, so I showed the 2 big cards that I bought earlier today. And actually I had a comment on a video that was like, so when are the upside down repacks dropping basically to help pay for this stuff? And he or she might actually have a very good point. So yeah, we might have to come out with overpriced repacks.
Steve could be your buyer. You could buy off Steve for inventory.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I got some inventory.
From a content standpoint, and then just making it could be a really fun parody to do, but it's just none of us have time. This is stuff that when we're 60 and retired and we're just traveling around and doing card shows because we just want to get out of the house, we'll do all this random stuff, but unfortunately just no time to set all that up. But yeah, the upside down
I just want to see the reaction videos from 40 other content creators when you get in the repack business.
God, I want to do that so badly just to get all the reaction. I want to. I'm just trying to tweak how I want to do it, but yeah,
well, you have to wait till season 5 drops.
Yeah,
is that the timeline?
I'll just put a bunch of base Stranger Things cards in, and then I'll have the big hit is a $10 card, and it'll be a $500 repack or some bullshit. No, I think it would be really funny to do it like a parody video where it's something like that, but. Yeah, I wouldn't actually move forward with it like some of these bozos have done in the past. It's hilarious.
Oh, so speaking of security detail, which we talked about, where I said that, you had your security team with you at the National last year. So I went to Atlanta. I get a message from Jeff on Instagram. I'll be in the shop today between 5:15 and 7. And I'm like, cool. My plane lands. I'll be in downtown Atlanta by 4. Checking the hotel time, perfect timing, right? So I get it, Cards HQ. I go in. So I'm carrying a spinner case, right? Because this ring came with a case, like a display case that spins the ring around. So I'm carrying that with a ring inside of it. And I walk in and I'm like, these people are wonder what in the hell I'm doing in here. So I look, I don't see Jeff. I kind of walk by the office and the door is open, like what seems to be the main office. He wasn't in there. And so I'm wandering around, and I'm like, well, shit. wonder if he's even here. So I said to the person at the register, I'm like, look, is Jeff in? And they're like, I don't know if he is or not. And I'm like, man, he's here, right? That was such the answer of, I don't know, so screening, I'm being screened, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is buffer number one.
Well, you're wearing flip-flops. I wouldn't have trusted
right.
you.
I'm like, look, I'm holding a ring. I'm holding a big ring. It says sports card investor on it. I said, I just came here. I just landed. I flew down from Delaware. Jeff was in a fantasy football league. And he told me when he was going to be here. And I'm just here to drop that off.
They're like, likely story.
Yeah, sure. Buddy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. You guys are right. So then it's the second wave of defense. All right. Well, let me get the store manager. I don't have a problem with the store. I don't need the store manager. Let me get the store manager. So store manager comes. Who are you? I'm like, I'm Steve. Right.
Steve.
I'm Steve. I'm like, Jeff told me he was going to be here today. I have this ring here. We did a fantasy football league for the national giveaway. He participated. He won. I'm here to present him with his prize. He's expecting me. What'd you say your name was again? I said it's Steve, but you may be flipping Steve. Crickets. Nobody knew who I was, right? Nobody knew
Why did your wife record all this?
First
right?
name flipping.
It would have been great.
Flipping, last name Steve.
Look, I'm not exaggerating this. This is not a story either. This is a true story, 100%.
Did Teapot gatekeep you?
He wasn't there. So then the manager's like, well, let me see if Jeff's here. I'm like, he's here. I'm like
they don't know that Jeff's in the building.
Do you need me to show you the Instagram message that he sent me telling me to be here?
No, you faked that.
Oh,
you
photoshopped
that.
Oh, no. We don't need to go through all that. I'm just like, it's not going through all that. I can just show you right here. I'm holding this ring. I'm starting to get sweat prints on the case because I'm carrying it around. So
they're like, Jeff, there's a sweaty guy out front that's got a ring with your logo on it.
Meanwhile, the Atlanta PD's pulling up outside.
Yeah. So
Steve gets tackled to the ground.
Hey, look, I straight up said to the manager, I said, I get it. People probably come in here. They probably ask for Jeff all the time. They probably want to trade cards with him, do things with him, but I'm here actually for a legitimate reason. And they still gave me yeah, right. That's what everybody says. Right. So finally they went back. They said, well, he's here, but we're going to tell him, we're going to tell him that, we're not just going to be like, hey, Jeff, can you come out? I need to tell him who's here, what's going on, right? So, I mean, it was like going through security and shit. So he finally came out, and he was like, Steve, what's going on? Look at the ring. And then he shot the content that he put on Instagram where he showed me giving him the ring. I don't have any content. I didn't shoot any content in there. But if anybody checks out Jeff's Instagram, you will see where I'm giving him the fantasy football ring in my flip-flops and my Delaware 302 shirt, baby. And
after you were done recording content with him, did you turn and look at the store manager and the kid working the register and be like, I freaking told you?
No, I was just like, man, I'm going to talk to
trash,
and get some wings.
You guys are getting fired. You guys are getting fired. Do you know who I am? I was born.
Yeah, you didn't drop the you don't know who I am card.
I didn't go carrying on them. No. It made for a fun story.
To your point, though, it is probably right. I'm sure they get a lot of interesting characters walking in there being like, is Jeff in?
I can tell you, and this is true. As he was walking from the back, office door to where I was at, just that little bit of maybe 30 yards, he had somebody approach him with a card and say, hey, would you be interested in trading this off of me? So I get where that was coming from because he was like, I don't have my cards here with me, but the store might be interested in it if you want to talk to one of the dealers that works here in the store. Right. So he probably gets that a lot because just in that little interaction with me, he had somebody approach him before he could even get to me and shake my hand. and try to deal a card with him. So, you know, he's famous to his viewers, right? I mean, he's got a lot of viewers, and a lot of people in the hobby want to do things with him, just like you see him want to do with the vloggers or with Card Collector too. They do a lot of deals with people because people want to do deals with them.
So speaking of that, going back to that interview that we were just talking about, did they ever? I saw a chat comment asking about, did they actually throw out numbers for what they thought that Topps Chrome basketball was going to cost?
They made it sound like it's probably definitely not going to be $250. They were.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan was saying like Bowman U basketball with Victor, the one from a couple of years ago, like sell on the secondary market for $300 or $400. So that's unlicensed college product for the basically. So what's the difference between that and this? And now you're talking about Wemby autos, LeBron autos, Curry autos.
Right. Yeah.
So I still don't think it's going to be like, when I did a video, people in the comments were like, this is going to be $1,000 to $2,000 a box. And I don't see that. Maybe the secondary market drives it to that price, but I just don't think there's any way in hell Topps puts that out at $9.99 a box or something on their website.
Probably when it first comes out, it'll pop off, but then I don't know. I mean, hell, who knows? Now, for Michael's question, you bought 2 megas, right?
I bought megas. They're not actually out yet. Those don't come out for another month.
Oh, okay.
I bought blasters.
The ones you opened were blasters.
No, I opened a jumbo. I have another jumbo.
Oh, a jumbo
sitting here, and I did order some megas off Fanatics, but they don't release until the 1st of June.
Shrinkflation in cards, Brett. You kind of nailed this. I'm totally on board with the new product. Just it's going to get more expensive, but the value is not going to rise with the price. It's going to be. I think it's going to be rough next few years. Every product's like Chronicles nowadays with all the insert chase cards. Well, Steve, I remember, okay, so let's go back in time a little bit. I remember you telling me like Bryce Young downtowns, for example. Let's just use that as an example because that's a big like repacker card. And just to speak to what we're talking about with stuff getting watered down, I remember you telling me going back months like, hey, there's like a ton of these Bryce Young downtowns. Whereas if you go back like 2-3 years, that was a fairly limited case hit, or that was a fairly limited card. They're not limited anymore, but the repackers pay up. Like the repackers are probably keeping those prices up for kabooms and downtown specifically.
Yeah, it is. And I had a conversation with a repack buyer the other day, and he was really talking because so the downtowns they fall in the price range. That's more affordable, right? Once you start getting into color blast and kabooms, you get elevated a little bit. So so when I said, what types of cards are you looking for? They said, eye appealing. It has to be something cool that when it gets opened in a repack on whatnot, the person sees it and they're like, oh, that's a cool card. Oh, that looks neat. I said, well, that's all kind of an opinion, right? I said, because I think some inserts or some case hits are cool and I think some aren't. But it wasn't even like necessarily the rarity of something. Now, case hit was the word being used a lot. I want case hits. Do you have any case hits? Do you have case hits? Not even necessarily numbered parallels. It was like, we're looking for case hits between $100 and $500, raw slab between $100 and $500. So I got into a talk with him about, man, do you realize how printed the downtowns are now? Because I got into just a general friendly conversation with the person talking about cards in general. Once the business end of it was done, now the buyer is somebody that I also know from the hobby, without disclosing any names. But so we were just talking. We talk about life. We talk about other things. When we're not talking about business, we separate business from personal, right? So I was just like, man, downtowns. I almost did a video on this because a case hit, the rarity of a case hit is circumstantial, or, the rarity is a direct relationship to how many cases are printed.
Yeah, there's 5 times more cases than there were.
So when you're looking at products that the downtowns come out of, they come out of a couple different products, and they come out of the products that they print a lot of product of. More cases equals more case hits. It's not like it's numbered to 25 and 25 is what they made, right? So the way that I had been steering was I was buying other products that they don't print as many of that are still considered quality products, but not upper tier, Panini One, plates and patches, things like that are printed less of, but it's not Prism, it's not Mosaic, it's not Donruss, right? It's not National Treasures, it's not Flawless, it's not Immaculate, right? It's in the middle there. But they print a lot less cases of it, which means the case hits are a lot more rare. From a collection, from a standpoint of selling to a collector, and that's what I always targeted, was collectors more so than people that were going to flip. Flippers need meat on the bone, right? I was hitting those mid-tier products that had less print runs. But what's still in demand is what's popular. And I was like, we were having this conversation, and they were like, yeah, I know. The print runs on the downtowns are pretty high now, but there's still the demand for them. There's still the demand. So I did a number thing where, and I told you this, the 2019 Kyler Murray downtown. I own one of those. So I looked at the pop report. The pop report on the PSA 10 on that is 24. I believe it may be 25 now. There may be another one that graded out. But let's just say it's at 25. Let's say it's at 50. I'll take it all the way up to 50. But I know it's at right about 25. But I'll double the pop report on the 10, take it to 50. The 2021 Trevor Lawrence in a PSA 10 is like, I believe, close to 400. And I've talked about this before, but okay, they were both the number one draft pick in their class. They were both the big quarterback coming out. They were both the chase card. They're going to both be graded. So it's not like one is a gradable player and one isn't. One wasn't in demand, one wasn't. And just the difference between 2019 and 2021, the pop report. Now, this doesn't give you a print run, but you can kind of use it as a gauge and say, okay, there's 25, and like I said, I'll round it to 50, Kyler Murray's. There's close to 400 Trevor Lawrence's. Now, when I talked to you about Bryce Young downtowns a little while back, they were selling for about $300 all day long. Buy it now on eBay. And there was just tons and tons and tons of them listed. And I was like, man, I could buy a Bryce Young downtown all day long for $300. But there's so many of them. There's so many. Now you go to eBay, there's not many, and they're more of a $450 card. I don't think that has anything to do with Bryce Young's market as an individual player as much as it does the market on downtowns. So even in a time when they're printed a lot more of, the demand on them is still a lot higher than it is for other cards. So, and maybe the demand is high on them because they do look cool. They are a neat insert. They are a case hit. But also a lot of people may not have done the number crunch and have realized that, okay, they're not necessarily as rare.
Well, that's, yeah, you nailed it right there. You nailed it. But I mean, think about like the average person I see in a YouTube video that is talking about kabooms and downtowns, they're like 16 years old, or they're whatever. Like that's kind of what that younger crowd is looking at and trading out of and selling out of. I get they're cool looking cards. I mean, I like them, but kind of to what you're saying though, that's what concerns me is I don't think that a lot of folks pay attention to those types of numbers. They're thinking, oh, downtown kaboom, that's a case hitter that's rare, not realizing that over the years it changes. It doesn't stay that way.
And the same players keep getting downtowns and stuff put out every year, and it's supposed to be city theme based, right? And I just feel like if you have one in 2020 and you have one in 2022 and 2021, 2022, 2023, like at what point do you get to the point where, oh, it's their first downtown that's more valuable? Well, the first one's probably typically going to be more rare because they were printing less. Or do you go by the design and the look of the card? Okay, well, the 2021 looks like crap, but the new one from 2023 looks awesome. But then again, if you're Patrick Mahomes and you're having one every year, how many things themed around Kansas City can you continue to put on a card before it feels like it just becomes redundant, right? It just becomes the same card over and over again.
Mike Petty nailed it. This is why all the downtowns are being sold, because people are lonely. And when you're alone and life is making you lonely, you always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and hurry seem to help. I go downtown. So there you go. Mike Petty nailed it.
Don't get us a copyright strike.
People are just picking these up because they just need a little bit, it's late at night. They're a little lonely and they've got their downtown.
This is how popular downtowns are. I made downtown stickers with me and my dog on them, and they sold out.
Yeah, color blast daisies. Here's what's funny about this. Harv's like, how do you gamble on a fart? You can gamble now at Dave and Adams. Now Dave and Adams, you can bet your buddy who's going to win in skee ball. So the whole how do you gamble on a fart thing? I understand that might sound crazy. In 5 years, that'll be a regular occurrence. It'll be an option.
You mean Dave and Buster's?
Huh?
You mean
Dave and Buster's, right?
Is that what I said? Or did I say Dave
and
Adams? Dave and Adams.
You can also gamble at Dave and Adams.
This live stream brought to you by.
That's a little different.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's. That's what I meant. So yeah, you can go to Dave and Buster's, play video games, and now I guess you can gamble on who's going to win, in the video game. So this is coming. How do you gamble on a fart? Just wait a few years. It'll be on your phone as an option.
Over under on length, but yeah, back to the case hit things. A lot of people are talking about case hits. I mean, for me now, as somebody that if I want to try to sell to a collector, I got to have something that they just can't go on eBay and be like, okay, I'm going to get it, right? That's why I started looking at some of the other case hits. I got their solar eclipses. They look awesome, and the pops on them are less than 5 for PSA 10s, and they're not super highly printed. So a collector is going to want a Tom Brady or something like that of a really good player. Does it mean that all the players in there carry value, right? I'll tell you a case hit that I've done really good on, and I don't have any left, and it's gotten hard to buy them. And I was surprised when I presented them to the repacker, and they were like, okay, I want them all, right? Was the American Metal inserts that I was doing. Anybody who's followed the channel knows that I was buying these American Metal case hits out of plates and patches because I just thought the design was awesome, because it was just a big American flag with the player in front of it. And it was just classy. It wasn't overdone. The card shined, the American flag shined. It looked really good. And anybody who I think there's just lots of people that would find it appealing to have their favorite player on a card that looks like the big banner behind them, right? Being the Star Spangled Banner. But it was just a clean, classy looking design this year. And I think it was the first year that Plates and Patches put them out. And they were inexpensive, and I bought them. They graded really well because they're a metal card, and they come with plastic peel on them. So if you can get the peel off nice, they don't. The surfaces are usually protected. They don't have corners because they're round on the edges, and they just graded out really well. And I was able to do really well on those. I even had stuff in the background when I did the conference call with the person buying off me that they saw in the background. It was a pile of stuff that I'd already sold. And they were like, let me see that pile. I'm like, that stuff's sold. Well, let me see it. And I was showing it to them. Can I buy that? I'll give you this much for it. And I'm like, it's already sold. It's here to be packaged and sent out. So the scramble for inventory is wild.
Yeah.
Certain inventory, specific inventory.
Yeah, yes. Specific to what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, that stuff is being propped up for sure right now. It's really interesting.
I mean, I saw an Instagram post last night that said, I'm looking to buy cards. I don't care what you have. I want to see what you have. And this is from a big buyer. I know this person. I've done deals with them.
Yeah, but you have these guys coming out saying hey, can you buy $1 million of cards a week? If you can, then I'll pay you a 6-figure salary. So, I mean, I guess on one hand, maybe that's good for people that are trying to sell. I mean, it's, that's for, certain cards. If you're just trying to move out, get into a larger card or something, there's now, I guess, an option to sell, better options to sell. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, I guess, and they were like, don't even give me a reason why it's overpriced. They were like, buying all cards. I need to buy quickly. I need inventory fast. I don't care what your reason is for it being overpriced. Meaning, I'm just want to buy your cards, and I got money to do it, and I got limited time to do it in.
Got that repack order that needs filled.
And I don't know if certain people all work for the same place, Because like I said, that Instagram post went up, and probably less than 5 minutes after that post went live, I got 2 direct messages on Instagram asking me if I had any inventory because they were buying chasers. So I don't know if they're working together. I don't know if they work for separate people. I really don't know. I only, whatever people tell me, they tell me. They don't want me to know. They don't want me to know, right?
I mean, when I did that Whatnot video a couple weeks ago or a week ago, whenever that was, like I sat in one Whatnot room on a Saturday, and in a course of like, I don't know how long it took them, a few hours to like sell all the spots and then open it. But they burned through like $400,000 in inventory in one room in like a 3-hour period. Like, you got to feed that beast, so they need, you know what I mean? They need to reload to keep doing that. And there's how many rooms on Whatnot going 24/7, 365. I mean, they're not all selling monster repacks like that, but even a big repacker or a big Whatnot seller, let's say there's 3 of them and they're running, every night. If they're selling $300,000 worth of inventory, that's a lot of cards that's got to change hands to fill that.
Let's see.
Steve has good insights. Right about 5% of his
95% is high.
5%.
95% is high, but I mean, I've been lucky. Okay.
Who's
I've just been lucky.
Skeen's girlfriend? So Caitlin Clark, who is that?
Skeen's girlfriend's Libby Doon.
Who's Skeen?
Oh, the gymnast.
Paul Skeens.
The pitcher.
Right. Yeah.
You're making yourself look real bad right now if you don't know who Paul Skeens is.
Oh, he's okay. I actually know him as Lizzie Dunn's boyfriend, not as a baseball player. I've seen him. I've seen him in the news. Okay.
Lizzie Dunn?
Yeah, you just said her
Did you say Lizzie Dunn?
Well, whatever. Olivia Dunn. Livy Dunn. Livy Dunn.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, dorks. I've got 4 kids. I've got a wife. I got shit to do. I don't have time to just study the stat sheet every single night.
You make content about this stuff. You should know it.
Don't you dabble in pop culture cards?
When I need to make a video, I get it all ready to go.
Yeah, don't you have a bunch of her like lipstick kiss cards laying around somewhere? Probably. You're big in a leaf.
I'm big in a leaf. I don't know if I'm big in a leaf, but
aren't you buying like all the leaf autos and stuff? Or
I've got some of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The stuff I like the most are the Leaf Pro Set autos. I like the Pro Set stuff.
Oh man.
You're getting roasted in chat now, justifiably so.
The roast of Dustin. Like the roast
Oh
of
my
Tom
God.
Brady.
Oh my God. Said his name wrong.
It wasn't that. You don't know who Paul Skeens is.
It's okay. We're recovering. And then
Yeah.
we're only 3 minutes behind on content.
I look forward to the free hit
I'm not the
piece
baseball
videos.
prospect guy. Look, if it's not my son,
free,
if it's not my son playing baseball, then I'm really kind of like just.
Ooh, do we get an update on the flag football?
Well, we had a bye week this past weekend.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't won yet, but we've been very close this last game. There's basically 5 teams that have played together since they came out of the womb. And then there's my team where it's everyone else that's signed up and we're kind of thrown in and trying to make it all work.
Expansion team.
Yeah, I've got the expansion team. We lost 25-18 the last game. So we were really battling. But yeah, no, it's been good.
Oh, 25-18. So you scored more than once. Like usually you score on the opening drive and then
that's right. Opening drive, they make
then they figure out your playbook. So
exactly.
okay.
When are we getting a Saturday morning live stream of you coaching?
Well, yeah, it's the fun. The funniest part is like we have to like really work on emotional intelligence. We always have to kind of talk through the game of like, guys, we're kind of riding the highs and then we're all the way down on the lows. So when we score, everyone's losing their mind and everyone's excited, and that's great. When they score, everyone flops to the ground and is crying, and it's like, I had him. And it's like, we don't have time. We can cry after the game, but we need to get on to the next play. So stuff's going to happen. We need to work through that. Again, 8 and 9-year-olds are still kind of working through their emotions.
When does there's no crying in flag football speech get busted out?
It got busted out the last game,
okay.
essentially. Yeah. it's the word. Well, we have a word of the week, and the word of the week was positivity or something that we talked to them about. You know, like they kind of add in all these things. It's funny because the league is all about like, it's not about winning. It's just about having fun, making sure everyone gets the ball. All the other coaches are trying out to be like an NFL coordinator. Like they're out there to win the game. They're not out there to talk about positivity. It's really kind of funny. But
right. So it's
play to win the game. We play to win the game.
It's Rick Moranis. So you're Rick Moranis, and the other coaches are Ed O'Neill.
Yeah, it's been fun. And actually, my youngest is having a lot of fun with it. So win, lose, or draw, or I guess lose or lose. everything is still on track. My son did tell me, he's like, Dad, you know, the one thing that we're missing, you know, I mean, I know we're out there trying, but we don't have an advanced playbook. And I just,
neither do I.
A piece of me died inside. So basically, son, you're saying it's coaching. It's not you guys out there playing the game. It's coaching. Like, I can't coach you guys getting faster on the outside. Like, I can't coach you guys like cutting them. Like we do, like literally spend 20 minutes on, we have to cut off the sideline. Like if I watch someone else run 40 yards down the sideline to score, like it's like in basketball, step on the baseline, make them run over you, like make them come back inside. Like do not let them get the outside and score. You know,
we got to teach them angles, man.
Dude, we
got to get out there with a protractor.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like once you get in there,
mind your gaps.
Yeah. Well, the sad part is when they do cut back, they still do well, but at least I don't want to see someone run it up the sideline for a touchdown. I mean, look, a lot of these kids are lightning fast, but still.
Oh, you know what we haven't talked about? The draft. Going into the draft, we wrote our 5 picks down.
The NFL draft.
Yeah, the NFL draft happened since our last.
Which shout out, we got 200 people that are watching, so thank you all. I was just kind of going off for a minute about flag football shenanigans, so thanks for hanging in. We're at the 200 mark. So NFL draft, Steve, you start with your thoughts.
I mean, the first 4 went exactly like I called it, but Minnesota ended up getting J.J. McCarthy, but they didn't trade up to 5 to do it like I thought. But they did did they trade up 1 spot to do it?
Yeah,
I can't remember because I was watching it at work. But I knew I called Daniels to the Redskins because that's just what the Redskins do. They need a quarterback that can move because they can't block. So Drake May they passed on Drake May for that, I believe. And Marvin Harrison Jr. went to the Cardinals, like I said. Kyler. Got a big contract for Kyler, man. If you don't get him a weapon in there, you're going to upset your quarterback again. But Michael Penix, I mean,
Kyler Murray's all out of excuses at this point. He's had Hopkins, and now he's got Harrison.
Yeah, but he was really good with Hopkins, and he was good with Marquise Brown until he got hurt. Then last year, he was okay. I mean, when he came back, actually, he looked good. Kyler Murray did. I mean, I had him on my bench in multiple fantasy leagues because nobody drafted him because he was going to be hurt for a while. And he was actually, he was playable. But yeah, Michael Penix going to Atlanta. I mean, I thought that was kind of crazy. That's like when the Packers took Jordan Love. Remember, because like the Packers lost to the Niners in the NFC Championship game in 2019, right? And they're like, okay, we need one more piece to put us over the top. And they go out and they draft a backup quarterback that's going to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple seasons. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I feel like Atlanta is really like right there ready to contend. And they draft a backup quarterback. I mean, are they looking to the future that far?
Apparently so. I saw something to the effect of, like it had something to do with Mahomes or something, to where like I think this, like some teams look at these quarterback prospects and think like, hey, there might not, we might not see a prospect like this for a couple of years, so like we got to take them when we can, if they feel that high on him. Penix is kind of an interesting one. My brother was distraught because obviously we're Saints fans, and he was like, if we don't pick Penix, I'm not watching it all this season. And not only do we not get him, he goes to the division rival Falcons. We FaceTimed, and I thought he was going to pass out. He was so worked up about it. He's like, how the hell did this happen? But
I just feel like when teams do that, they kind of back themselves into a corner because by the time that quarterback is ready to play, they're kind of coming off their rookie contract, right? And or close to it, and you kind of really have a limited amount of time to see whether or not they're worth giving a big contract to if you don't play them early.
real quick on this, Bradley, yeah, you would think that would be easy to pull off, but like kids sometimes like drop the handoff. So you would think like some of these plays are easy to run, but execution, you can like draw it up, but the actual execution part is pretty tough. All right. Back to the draft. Okay. So we had Penix that went. Do we think Drake May is going to be the second coming in New England, or is he going to be Mac Jones part 2? Neo.
I don't think we're going to know for a hot minute because I don't think they're planning on starting him right away because they brought in the Brisket.
Oh, really? You don't think they'll start him up?
No, I think they purposely brought in Jacoby to be a placeholder at least to start the season.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that May's ready. I think it was pretty widely known that May might not necessarily be ready day one.
I think a lot of the quarterbacks are going to be. It's very depending on the team that they went to, and I don't think that the Patriots is a friendly spot for a rookie quarterback to land. They just don't have a whole lot of other extra talent there, and they don't have an offensive-minded head coach. So it's kind of like, will it stunt the development of a young quarterback? I don't know. I feel like some quarterbacks are going to be stars no matter where they go. And then I feel like some quarterbacks, it's going to be very dependent on where they go. And I kind of think that's kind of where Drake May kind of lands right now.
I think he's going to be a good pro, but I agree. It's like with any of these guys, it's going to take a year or two to figure it out. But yeah, Drake May's got nothing going there in New England. I mean, he doesn't. I can't name one Patriots receiver. Did the Patriots pick up a receiver in free agency?
I don't remember.
I can't think of one.
I mean, if they did, it wasn't like a splash, right? It wasn't like it's not memorable. Like,
yeah.
If you play fantasy football, you probably know because, okay, he's going to be the number one in New England, PPR. But I can't really think about it right now. And, I mean, also, the AFC is just loaded with quarterbacks. Like, I just feel like somebody like Drake May coming in on New England, there's big-time competition in the conference, and not only in the conference, in the East. And I don't know. You got Aaron Rodgers, Tua, and Josh Allen. Now you have Drake May. Do you feel good about that? I don't know.
I feel like every division though now is pretty tough. Like what team doesn't have a quarterback at this point? Like it's been the issue in the NFL for a couple of years. Like how do you speculate on QB?
Yeah, but not just the quarterback, but the things that are around him. Because honestly, I don't think Tua is great, but I think he has the pieces around him. To make him a good quarterback, right? If Drake May goes to a team like Miami, my thought on Drake May might be slightly different because I can feel like he can be elevated by the players around him, as opposed to being the person that's going to have to elevate the players around him.
Yeah, I mean, I could throw wide receiver screens to Tyreek down there in Miami. Like, come on. I'm really surprised. Didn't they give Tua a monster contract?
They give him his 5th-year extension, and then they were talking about extending him. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they actually gave him the big money. I'm glad they did.
Yeah, they were talking about it. I don't know if it went through or not. Like I said, when I was in Atlanta the last couple of days, I didn't keep up with a lot of stuff. I know that they were in talks for a big contract, but I don't know if they finalized anything. And I know that they did exercise his 5th-year option. But that goes back up to where they said that Michael Penix the owner said he was going to sit for 4 years. I mean, you're going to have to exercise somebody's 5th-year option before you even see him play.
And maybe it kind of works out. Maybe it's more of like, hey, is Kirk Cousins really going to play 16 games for the next 3 years? Maybe.
Right. That's
probably
the thing.
Not. So maybe even if like Penix is not named the starter, he probably still plays over the next couple of years because he's getting time in if Kirk has to sit out or whatever.
Is there any players from this draft that make an immediate fantasy impact
Marvin
that are automatically fantasy relevant?
Harrison and Neighbors and
I was going to say,
the 3 wide receivers.
Yeah,
for sure, and maybe even Brock Bowers.
I thought about Bowers, but man, I hate that situation.
I mean, it's not your. I mean, you're right, but I just think he'll have so much opportunity.
Where did he go again? Did he go to the Jets?
Raiders.
That's right.
So that's either Minshew or O'Connell, right? And then, of course, 35% of the target share is going to Devontae Adams right out of the gate on a team that's going to want to run. So I think Brock Bowers is talented, but I don't know how much. I don't know. I just don't like the situation.
I mean, he's definitely number 4 on that list. I would take all 4 wide receivers.
Yeah, Harrison will go in the first 2 rounds.
Well, Bowers is, I mean, for fantasy purposes, I'd probably take Bowers because he's going to be targeted a lot. He's going to be the bailout option when the line doesn't hold up. I mean, like, you got Devontae Adams on that team and Bowers.
Jacoby Myers, he's a target hog too.
Yeah. Well, I'll be picking him in the first round of the fantasy football draft. Not the first, but I'm happy to take Bowers.
Yeah, I just think Marvin Harrison's draft capital in fantasy will definitely probably be around pick 14, somewhere between 14 and 16. So you're going to have to get him in the second round.
Yeah, he's automatically wide receiver 1 there in Arizona.
Yeah. But yeah, fantasy still a ways out, but just trying to project. Neighbors, I don't like the situation either. He should get a bulk of the looks, but Daniel Jones, man, that's rugged.
All right, guys, we're right at about the 90-minute mark. Do we want to wrap? Are there any other topics that we want to hit on?
Well, do you have any updates on the Pearl Jam concert? No.
I'm going to it.
Okay.
That's the update.
You didn't know when you were coming into town or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to come in the morning of. So it's on a Thursday night. We're going to start driving like Thursday morning. Take off Thursday, Fridays, drive in Thursday morning. So probably get into Baltimore like early afternoon.
Thursday afternoon, you said?
Yeah, because it's Thursday.
So you're going to arrive the day of the show's at night.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of these comments on football. The Bears in the Super Bowl this year.
The Bears will be an interesting team. They're all offense, man. They got a lot of weapons on offense.
Yeah. They're not that scary to me right now. They have names, but it's like Keenan Allen, he's not going to give you a full season. He's also kind of old. And he's going from a situation where he was playing with a quarterback that he had chemistry with to a rookie. So
yeah, you don't know what you're going to get at Williams right out of the gate.
You have a rookie in the slot. I mean, everybody said Jackson Smith and Jigma was going to bust out last year, and he really didn't. And he's probably better than the guy that the Bears drafted. And then DJ Moore. I mean, he's a solid receiver, but he's never been like a top 10 guy. Good receiver, really good receiver, but he also can't stay healthy for a full season either.
I think the Bears are going to be tough because actually Caleb Williams, he has some pieces around him. You know, he's not like in New England or whatever where there's just nothing.
Oh, right. Yeah, though they wanted to cater to him, so they made big plays to get in some offensive players to help him out. I just feel like just when you throw a lot of names on the same team doesn't necessarily mean they get good. Just like Odell Beckham.
Odell's been God. I'm just waiting for him to finish out his career with the Saints and play like 2 quarters, cost like $5 million, and then retire. That'll be like a typical like Saints signing.
Yeah, but it's like
I remember when the Browns traded for him. I was so excited.
I mean, he's a name. He's a name at this point. But I mean, you know, as somebody who used to be a Dolphins fan, the way that I look at Odell Beckham is he'll catch a couple first downs and maybe some red zone targets, right? He's not going to.
He'll catch a couple first downs, be a locker room cancer, and then leave your team.
I mean, he's not going to be the 1 or 2 option. And Miami wants to run a lot. I mean, we ran the ball almost more than anybody did last year, from a success rate. And that's Tyreek Hill's team, then Jalen Waddle's team. Odell will spell Hill, and he will line up in the slot some. He'll catch, like I said, he'll catch some first downs, maybe a couple touchdowns. But like anything over 600 yards, I mean, that's just, in my opinion, lofty.
Well, I like that the national media has got the Saints ranked like 30th out of 32 teams, which is exactly where we want to be. Because anytime the national media says we're like Super Bowl favorites or we're a Super Bowl dark horse or any of this crap, it always ends in disaster. So I'm really glad that everyone's just writing us off. Expectations are low, and we can shock the world in the fall.
Isn't Derek Carr still your quarterback?
Yeah, Steve, still our quarterback.
Okay.
We got the 49ers. We got some new coaching staff, offensive coaching staff. So we're not going to be running Pete Carmichael's offense we've been running for the last 15 years. So teams will actually not know what's coming for once. That'd be good.
I don't know, man. Derek Carr managed to make Chris Olave a fantasy bust last year.
Chris Olave he'll catch the 60-yard bomb down the field with one hand, and then you'll throw him a 15-yard hook route, and it hits off of his helmet and bounces off. That guy, I mean, I watched every game. He was inconsistent as hell. I'm not saying Carr's, Tom Brady, but
Heck, Carr be throwing in them ducks.
No.
Them ducks are hard to catch.
We didn't protect him either. Our first round pick was the right pick. We had a good draft. We got a tackle that we desperately needed. So yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Miami reached at every position, but I don't really care because the Chiefs got the player that I wanted them to get. The Bills traded back with the Chiefs to let the Chiefs get the receiver that they wanted. How smart is Buffalo, the team that can't beat the Chiefs, gives their draft pick to the Chiefs so that they can get the wide receiver that they wanted? Oh, man, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, but with the Chiefs, it's just like any receiver, Mahomes, like any halfway decent receiver, Mahomes is going to make look good. Like they were that guy Rice that's getting in trouble or whatever. Like they don't care. They're going to just fill his spot with somebody else.
Yeah, well, it's
Olave got a lot of targets. Olave had plenty of targets. He had plenty of opportunities.
It's Marquise Brown. The Chiefs signed Hollywood.
Yeah, they got Hollywood, but then they also drafted a speedster.
They drafted the fastest guy, the fastest receiver in the draft, I believe.
Yeah. So
they traded up because I think they only traded up one spot, right? They traded up one spot with the Bills. Well, I guess the Bills didn't want him, but they don't have any receivers either. They have they brought in an old guy. They brought in Chase Claypool. Oh man. Crazy.
Oh. All right, boys. I think that I need to wrap. It's 10:40 Eastern.
Got to work on your playbook.
I've got a whole I mean, I'm going to run through the plays myself in the backyard before I talk to
go buy like Madden 93 or something and your playbook.
Yeah, I well, when I first started, I was like, okay, we're going to do a lateral, then we're going to do a throwback, throwback across the field. Like, no, we just need to work on handoffs and pulling flags. Let's start there.
And you try to hit them with the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Well, like I said, the first series of the game, did I tell you how we did? Did I tell you about how I was calling for a bomb? Did I tell you this?
Yeah, you faked them out.
Yeah.
You're playing mental games with those kids out there.
Yeah, that's the only way we're going to score is if I'm basically like trying to – because the defense is – well, no, they're seriously like calling out the plays. They're like watching the lineup and they're like, it's a run to the right. Watch 13. It's a run to the right. So we got to
use motion. You got to Omaha.
Only one kid – only one – and there's all these rules too. Only one person can motion at a time.
Well, isn't that – okay, yeah. That's not an NFL rule anymore, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. All right, guys. Well, hey, everybody, thanks very much for joining us for another episode of the bi-weekly Off-Centered Show. Everybody have an amazing rest of your week. We will see you back in 2 weeks. What do we have coming up? Does anyone do we have any shows? I guess, Neo, you go to shows like every weekend. Anybody have anything?
Yeah, I got local shows this weekend. My next big travel show will be Heroes Con. Which, are you going to that for sure, Dustin? Is that like locked in for you, Heroes Con?
I have it on my family calendar. So I don't know if my wife, I don't know if my wife has put her approval on, but yeah, I'm going to be there regardless of what she says. She's asleep.
Whoa, bold claim.
She's asleep, so that's
Okay.
why. That's why.
That bird nest.
No, I'm gonna bring. I'm probably gonna bring Lynx with me, so that'll be fun. We'll be there.
Yeah, that'll be a good thing.
We will be there. All right, guys. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Oh wait! Shout out to Space 99 Yak for the 99-cent super sticker. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. See you guys.
See it.